Let me start again. So the module was straightforward in dealing with the topic, no, egoism and altruism. One of the things that were mentioned there is that we cannot easily identify whether an action is done egoistically or altruistically, simply because of the factor or the intention factor of an action. Okay? The intention of an agent, no, the one who does actions, is not publicly observable unless, the person says, I have done this thing for the sake of my personal interests. But the problem still with that is that the person can actually lie or cover the fact that he or she might be acting out of his or her self-interest. Okay? Also, a person who might be concerned with their self-interest can show things or do actions that are altruistic, at least of what is being observed by others. But deep inside, there is an intention of fulfilling personal intentions or desires. That is why some people, like for example Hutchison, he's an author. He said that if you know Mother Teresa, Mother Teresa was the nun in India who really devoted her life to help the least, the last, and the lost. Hutchison questions these actions of Mother Teresa by saying that, Mother Teresa does these things because she wants to fast track her journey towards sainthood. I mean, it's possible, no? But again, the key word in the module is overt. No? Overt means publicly observable. Okay? Unless, the person says, I've done these things because I really just want to help. That is our gauge whether the person really operates in an altruistic or egoistic perspective or framework. Now, why are some thinkers so into egoism? One reason is that to be an altruist, to be a hardcore altruist, okay, or the strong ethical altruism. To become a strong ethical altruist means you just need to be concerned with the interests of others, to the point that you will sacrifice your own interests over the others. So, for some thinkers, this is really strange, since each of us has a life to live. And each of us, for sure, have his or her personal interests. And para unahin yung iba, that is kind of defeating to our own life. If you always concern yourself with the interests of others, one thinker such as Ayn Rand would say na kapag inuuna mo lagi yung welfare ng iba, the tendency is for you to sacrifice even your own life just because you want to to fulfill the interests of others. You know, one key altruist that I see is, for example, the Jesus Christ of the Christians. You know, because his vision was that he wants to save humanity. He let himself, be crucified on the cross. Okay? Or, for example, there are many countless stories of people, covering bombs. Tatalo na nila yung bomba para lang hindi mamatay yung iba. And what is the end of that? Their own life being sacrificed just because they want, to forward the interests of others. On the other hand, it is difficult to live also with a selfish person or an egoist. Because heroism, the sense of community, some altruists would argue, the sense of community, of belonging to a social group or culture is not so easy to be attained. Because if everyone concerns themselves with their personal interests, they will only help you as long as it serves their interests. Walang room for, going beyond the call of duty or helping people when they are really in dire need. Kaya nga yung isang example dun sa module, yung isa tinulungan yung nadapa na estudyante kasi landlord niya yung, I think yung tatay or nanay ng estudyante. Gusto niya magpa-impress. Now, the question here is that, can a person really be an altruist person? Or kaya ba talaga ng isang tao maging hardcore, ethical, egoist? Okay? That is one question. Another question is that, yung mga tao nagsasabing egoist sila, are they really operating on their own self-interests? Take the case, for example, of a person who is addicted to smoking. He or she is so addicted that he can consume maybe 2 to 3 packs of cigarettes per day. Now, an egoist would say, I'm doing this smoking because I want it. It's my self-interest. It's part of my self-interest. But if a person is addicted to something, the psychology gets in. Are they really operating on their self-interest when in fact they are just quote-unquote slaves to their addiction? So meron pa rin kayang personal interest. No? Talaga bang purely personal interest or you are just into it because you are already addicted? So you see, even the concept of self-interest can sometimes be questionable to persons claiming, this is my self-interest. Now, meron din naman pagkakaiba, yung tinatawag na egoist saka egotist. Okay? An egoist, some egoists do not want to meddle with others' affairs. And so, they are just contented in living their life, fulfilling their self-interests. Wala silang pakialam kung merong ang self-interest. No? Basta ako, I fulfill my self-interests. Pero may mga egoists na they fulfill their self-interest, kaya lang, they do not want their self-interests to dominate others' self-interests. A clear example of this is murder. No? An ethical egoist would not murder. Why? Because you are already defeating the self-interests of others. In short, kanya-kanyang buhay. Hindi kita papakialamanan, wag mo akong pakialamanan. Okay? An egotist, on the other hand, is someone who is so consumed, who is so into his self-interest, that he or she wants the interests of others, the persons around, to jive or even to serve his or her personal interests. Okay? Ang isang egotist is like this, no? If you know the Snow White, no, yung classic children Snow White na pelikula, ba? The evil stepmom there would say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" No? Buti pa yung evil mother or yung evil stepmom, nagtatanong pa sa mirror, who is the fairest of them all? An egotist would say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, I am the fairest of them all." Hindi na siya magtatanong. Siya na, ikaw na. No? Kaya nga, ang isang egotist, gusto niya ang mundo umikot sa kanya. No? Pero ang egoist, it does not necessarily mean na iikot sa kanya ang mundo. Okay? An egoist would only meddle with the affairs of others only if, one, it serves their own self-interest, and two, walang nasasagasa ang tao. Okay? So, those are some ideas, no, about the clash between altruism and egoism. Another point that I would like to raise, and this will be the last, is can egoists be sincere persons? No? Take, for example, the first action or helping action that is in the module. The first student only did or only helped yung clumsy na estudyante because landlord niya, yung magulang ng estudyante. So you see, yung real intention to impress, makakuha siguro ng discount, ay nakatago doon sa pagtulong. And so, some ethicists would say that egoists tend to be insincere persons since they always hide behind altruistic actions in order that they would gain advantage or to the extreme profit out of the altruistic action. And so kung tago lang ng tago, no, yung mga egoists sa mga altruistic actions, what is at question there is the sincerity of helping, of showing altruistic actions. Let's not get far, no? Politicians. No? Politicians help a lot. But not all politicians are like this, no? They help a lot, but some politicians help for the sake, of fulfilling their interests, of having the good image for the voters, so that they will be elected in the next election. Okay? So, can you live in a world, I think that's one of the questions for the class exercises, I think, or the module assessment. Can you sincerely live with a person who is an egoist? Mas madali bang makipamuhay sa isang egoist kaysa sa isang altruist? Because, bakit natin pipiliin yung altruism naman on the other hand? One is that our capacity, our capacities, our talents, our abilities are not the same. No? For example, nung high school ako, mahina ako sa math. No? And so I needed the help of someone to deal with that subject. No? Kinailangan ko ngayon yung tulong ng iba kasi mahina ako sa isang subject na ito. Tapos in return, ako naman, magaling ako sa speech. Okay? Hindi naman magaling, no? Pero may talent, no? May K. And so I help that person helping me in mathematics in his English classes. So, kumbaga, give and take. Precisely because our abilities are not the same. Okay? And that necessitates the help or assistance of others. No? Kasi ang egoist, hindi siya hingi ng tulong. Yung mga hardcore egoist, hindi sila hingi ng tulong sa iba. Buhay ko, kargo ko. No? But time will come that you will discover that your abilities are not the same. Our abilities are not the same. And so we need to depend on others. Okay? So the question is, would you rather live in a society with egoists or altruists? So I think that ends my short input on the topic.